Good morning, everyone. Today we will start the next chapter, chapter 4, that is Animal Kingdom. As you know, till the time the scientists they have discovered million of animal species, and to study all these animals for the systematic study, first we need to classify them, then only we can study about the details of animals. Definitely the different species of the animals, they differ in size, in the normal functioning, but still a group of the individuals or some of the species, they share some of the common characteristics. In regards of body organization, symmetry of the body, coelom, or you can say the body cavity, segmentation, it means some of the features they are same, or you can say they resemble to each other into the different groups of the animals, and these parameters have been taken to classify animals, to study them in the proper way, in the systematic way. So without classification, we can't study about the million of the species which are discovered till now. So let us see what are the different parameters, or you can say what are the basis of the classification. The first topic, that is the basis of the classification. After the classification, the basis of classification, then I will teach you about the different phylums, their characteristics, like phylum Porifera, Cylindrata, Platyhelminthes, Escalminthes, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Chordata. So all these phylums we will study in detail, but before we need to focus about the basis of the classification. In the basis of the classification, the first heading is the levels of organization. These are the basis of the classification: levels of the organization, body symmetry, germs layer, coelom, segmentation, and notochord. Means 6 bases are there. On these 6 parameters, all these animals, they have been classified. The first one is the levels of organization. The levels of organization includes cellular level, tissue level, organ level, and organ system level. The primitive, or you can say the simple animals like sponges, which are the member of Porifera, phylum Porifera, all the members of phylum Porifera, they exhibit the cellular level of organization. It means you can't observe the tissues, they don't have the organ, they don't have the organ system, and here the cells, they show the division of labor. The cells, they divide among themselves to do the different functions. Some of the cells, they help in the process of ingestion of the food. Some of the cells, they digest. So not the tissues, even the cells, they get specific to perform the specific function, and such level of organization is called cellular level of organization, because the body is very simple, the body is very primitive. That's why the sponges, they show cellular level of body organization. The second, tissue level of body organization. Here, some of the similar cells, in this case, they group together, they combine together to perform the specific function. As you know, tissue is the group of the cells, and here not the individual cell, but the group of the cells, they become specialized to perform the special function, and such type of level of organization is said to be what? Tissue level of the body organization. You can observe the tissue level of organization in Hydra, which is the member of Coelenterata. It's a kind of coelenterates. So in all the coelenterates, the body organization is found at the tissue level, slightly advanced than the cellular level. Then the third one is the organ level of the body organization. In the organ level, again the tissues, as you know, the group of the tissues, they consist together to form organ. And in the case of platyhelminthes, like Taenia solium, tapeworm, it's a member of platyhelminthes. Fascicola also, that is called liver fluke, it is also included in platyhelminthes. So in the members of the platyhelminthes, the organ level of the body organization has been reported, in which again the tissues, they combine together, they consist together to form organ, and organ is specialized to perform the special function. And the advanced level of the organization is the organ system. And you know, organ again consist together, group together to form organ system. And organ system like digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, reproductive system, all these are the systems. And here each system is specialized to perform the special function. For example, digestive system, it helps in the process of digestion. Respiratory system, for the respiration. Excretory system, to remove the nitrogenous waste outside to the body. So the organ system is more complex form, and this organ system of the level of organization is found into annelids like ascaris, all the insects, which all are the members of this phylum Arthropoda, arthropods, then mollusca, echinodermates, for example starfish, hemichordates, chordates. We are also, the human being is the member of chordates, means all the chordates includes avies, mammals, amphibians, reptiles. All these classes means all the chordates, they exhibit what kind of the body organization? The organ system. You can take the example of your body. Inside your body, so many systems are there to perform your activities smoothly. Our body is consist of all these systems: digestive, respiratory, circulatory, reproductive. All these systems are there. So the primitive one is the cellular level, which occurs in the case of the members of Porifera, and the advanced form is this one, organ system of the level of organization, and the organ system level of organization is found into the different phylums, started from annelids to the chordates. As far as digestive system is concerned, it is given in your NCERT book that the digestive system is of two types, that is incomplete and complete. What do you mean by incomplete digestive system? In the incomplete digestive system, a single opening, a single aperture is found, and that is helpful to intake the food and to remove the food, undigested food, exterior. Means the same aperture, the same opening is responsible for both of the purpose, that is ingestion and egestion. So this is incomplete digestive system. It occurs in some of the members of Platyhelminthes. And in complete digestive system, the two different openings are there, the two different apertures are there. That is mouth, which is responsible for intake of the food. It helps to ingest the food from outside, and anus, which helps to remove the undigested food material outside to the body. It means it helps in the process of egestion. So if in the alimentary canal, in the digestive system, the two different openings are present, that is mouth and anus, both they are present, which perform for the functions of ingestion and egestion respectively. This is called complete digestive system, and this complete digestive system is present in your body. We have the mouth to take the food, and the anus, it helps to remove undigested food materials outside to the body. So we are having what kind of the digestive system? Complete digestive system. The same like in the circulatory system also. The circulatory system is also of two types, that is open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. Inside the human body, what kind of the circulatory system we are having? We have the closed circulatory system. The closed means, you have already studied in class 10th about the heart, blood vessels, that is about the circulatory system. Inside our body, the blood always flow inside our body in a closed system. The blood always flow inside the blood vessels. From heart, the blood goes to the arteries, then the blood goes to the veins, again from the veins it comes into the heart. The blood inside our body never goes outside, means they do not directly comes into the contact of body cells and tissues. The blood directly never bath the cells and tissues of our body, and such type of circulatory system is called closed circulatory system. You can ask, sir, if the cells and tissues, they are not going to direct comes into the contact of the blood, then how they take the food material from the blood vessels? Actually, whatsoever the food materials are to be there inside the blood vessels, they are diffused from the blood vessels to the tissue fluid, and from the tissue fluid, the blood cells and tissues, they take the food. But the cells, internal cells of your body or the tissues, they never bath, or you can say they never come into the contact of the blood. So inside our body, or you can say in the closed vascular system, in the closed circulatory system, the blood always flow in the closed system, in the blood vessels, and the blood cells and tissues, they are not directly come into the contact of the blood and cells. But in open system, in open circulatory system, like in the case of arthropods, you can take the example of like cockroach, the circulatory system is what? Open. In the open circulatory system, the heart pumps the blood to the blood vessels. Definitely they are having also the blood vessels. The blood goes to the some part to the blood vessels, and then from the blood vessels directly the blood comes into the contact of the body cells and tissues. In the cockroach also, some of the sinuses are to be there, where the blood, they are going to be deposited also, they are going to be collected. In open circulatory system, the blood directly bath, or you can say comes into the contact of the body cells and tissues. They do not flow always inside the closed system like the closed vascular system. So overall, in the open circulatory system, the blood directly bath to the body cells and tissues, but in closed vascular system, the blood flow inside the blood vessels and the blood cells and tissues of our body, of the animal's body, they are not directly bathed to the blood. Now, the next heading is regarding the symmetry. As you know, symmetry is the body organization. The symmetry is the condition of our body, the orientation of the body, that how they look. The symmetry is of two types, asymmetrical and symmetrical. In asymmetrical body, like in the case of sponges, the body don't have any symmetry. They don't have the radial or bilateral or dorsal. Such type of symmetry is not found. But in the symmetrical form, the body has the symmetry. The symmetrical body is further divided into the two types, radial and bilateral. In radial symmetry, the body is going to be, if you will cut the body to the central axis at any plane, the body is divided into the two parts or the equal parts, and that is called radial symmetry. The radial symmetry is found in the case of coelenterate, ctenophores, as well as in echinodermates or echinoderms. In the bilateral symmetry, if the body is going to be cut by considering the central axis, the body is divided into the two parts, that is right and left. So the right and left, it indicates what? Bilateral symmetry. So if only the two equal parts are going to be divided, they don't have the right and left, they look similar in all the plane. This is said to be what? Radial symmetry. But in bilateral symmetry, the body has right and left portion. Your body also has bilateral symmetry. If you will cut to consider the central axis, the body is divided into the two parts, right and left. It indicates bilateral symmetry. We have also dorsiventral symmetry. This is the dorsal, the back, that is dorsal, the front one, that is ventral. So this, on the basis of the symmetry, some of the animals, they don't have any symmetry. They are said to be asymmetrical. If the body has any orientation, they are called symmetrical animals. The symmetrical animals, they are further divided into the radial and bilateral. Now the next heading is germs layer. The germs layer is also a parameter to classify animals into the different phylums, into the different groups. During the embryonic development, when the young ones, they are inside the mother's uterus, it means in the embryonic condition, initially when the zygote divides in the early stage, the three germs layers, they are formed. In some of the animals, only two germs layers are there. In some of the animals, the three germs layers are there. And these germs layer are ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. How many germ layers are there? Three. In majority of the animals, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. But in Coelenterata, I have written here, like in the case of Hydra, in the members of Coelenterates, in the embryonic condition, only two germ layers, they are present. That is ectoderm. Ectoderm is the outer germ layer and endoderm is the innermost germ layer. And because of only these two germ layers, the animals, for example the Coelenterates, they are said to be what? Diploblastic. In diploblastic animals like in Hydra, one additional, this is not the germ layer, but a layer is found in between the ectoderm and endoderm, that is called mesoglia. And that mesoglia is the undifferentiated cell. This is not considered as the germ layer. So on the basis of the germs layer, the animals are classified into these two groups, diploblastic. The diploblastic animals had only two germ layers, and these are ectoderm and endoderm. While in the triploblastic animals, how many germ layers are there? Three germs layers are present: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Ectoderm is the outer layer, outer germ layer. Endoderm is the innermost germ layer, and in between the ectoderm and endoderm, one more layer is there, that is called mesoderm. So because of these three germ layers, the animals, they are said to be what? Triploblastic animals. And the triploblastic animals includes like Platyhelminthes, all the members of the Platyhelminthes, Annelida, Escalminthes, Echinodermata, starfish, chordates, including the human beings, all the fishes, amphibians, reptiles. Maximum, or you can say the majority of the animals, they are triploblastic. As I told you about the germs layer, that during the embryo condition, or you can say embryonic condition, these three germs layers may be present, or the two germs layer, they are present, like in the case of hydra or coelentrates. What are the functions of the germs layer? Actually, the germs layer, they are responsible for the formation of our all the body parts. Whatsoever the body parts are to be there, whether it is external or internal, your skin, your digestive system, your respiratory system, your blood vessels, all these body parts, they are originated, they are formed from these three germs layer. Whether it will be, the body parts will be ectodermal in origin, or endodermal in origin, or mesodermal in origin. For example, your skin, the outer covering, it is ectodermal in origin, means they are made up of ectoderm. The ectoderm, later on they form the skin, the outer covering of our body. Blood vessels, they are mesodermal in origin. The internal organs, they are endodermal in origin. Means these three germs layer, they are found into the embryo, and later on these three germs layer, they make our body, the different organs, the different systems of our body. Because you will study in class 12 that during the embryonic development, the zygote divides into the blastula stage. Within a week time, the zygote divides into a ball-like structure. First it forms a morula stage, then the blastula stage. After implantation, the blastocyst, the blastula stage is converted into the gastrula stage. So morula, blastula, gastrula, these all are the stages of the embryo, and especially in the gastrula stage, these three germs layer, they are found. Again the gastrula stage, it forms the fetus. So in class 12th, I will teach you about these three germs layer in detail. But here, just you have to focus that what are the germs layer. The germs layer means these all are the group of the cells. Whether it is ectoderm, mesoderm or endoderm, they are made up of the cells. These all are the group of the cells, have ability to divide again and again, and they form our body parts, our body systems later on during the embryonic development. So once again, if the animals, they are having only the two germs layer during the embryonic condition, the animals, they are said to be diploblastic, like the members of coelentrates, hydra, and triploblastic animals, or the animals, those who are having how many germs layer? Three germs layer are found, and these are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Now, the next one is the coelom. This one, coelom. The coelom is also a basis of the classification. In some of the animals, the coelom is found. In some of the animals, the coeloms, they are not found. What is coelom? Coelom is the body cavity, and that cavity is found in between the in between the skin and the body wall, in between the body wall and gut, that is digestive system. In some of the animals, even in chordates also, the body has the cavity. Some of the cavities, they are found, some of the species are to be there in between the body wall and gut, that is digestive system. As you know, in the center of our body, that is the digestive system, and the outer side, that is called body wall. So coelom is the body cavity which is found in between the body wall and digestive system, or you can say gut. If these body cavities, and always the cavity is layered by mesoderm, this cavity is lined by, suppose this is the cavity, this cavity is lined by which layer? Mesoderm. It is mesodermal. In origin, the mesodermal cells, they are found on the wall of this cavity. So if the cavity or the coelom is found, the animals, they are said to be what? Coelomates. If the body cavity or the coelom is absent, the animals, they are said to be what? Acoelomates. So I have written here, acoelomates means the animals, they don't have the body cavity, or you can say the coelom. For example, Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, as you know, is the phylum which includes some of the animals. For example, Taenia solium, that is tapeworm. So in all the members of Platyhelminthes, the body cavity is absent, or you can say they don't have the coelom, and that's why the animal is said to be what? Acoelomates. The second one, pseudocoelomates. Pseudocoelomates. Aschelminthes. For example, Aschelminthes, it includes Annelida, the animal Annelida. And in all the members of Aschelminthes, the rudimentary, the coeloms, they are found a cavity which is lined by the mesoderm. Small, you can say the coeloms in the discrete form, they are found like this. Suppose this is the cross section of the body. This is outer covering, ectoderm. This one is the ectoderm. This is the digestive system. This is ectoderm. As I told you, this is endoderm, and actually this is the coelom, but here the coelom, they are found in the discrete form. These are the body cavities. Not a single body cavity is to be there, but so many small body cavity, they are scattered in their body. These small sacs, the cavity are there. So the coelom is not, you can say, well developed. They are found in the discrete form, and that's why it is said to be what? Pseudo. Pseudo means not well developed. Pseudocoelomates, like Aschelminthes. And the third one is the coelomates. The coelomates means the animals, those who are having the body cavity or the coelom, which is present in between the gut and body wall. It is very prominent, developed, like annelids, mollusca, arthropods, echinodermata, hemichordata, chordates. In all these phylums, the coeloms they are found, and that's why they are said to be what? Coelomates, or you can say the coelomic animals. And so on the basis of the coelom, or you can say the body cavity, whether the body cavity is found in between the gut and body wall, and accordingly the animals they have been classified into the acoelomates, pseudocoelomates and coelomates. Now the next heading is segmentation. You can observe in the case of earthworm, the body has so many segments. The body is divided into so many segments. You can even observe from outside in leeches also. The body is segmented, and the segmentation was also a criteria to classify animals. If the body segmentation is to be there, the body has different segments. They are called segmented animals. Such type of the pattern of the division, of the partition of their body because of the segments, such type of segmentation is also known as metameric segmentation. This is also known as metamerism. So sometimes there may be the question that what is metamerism? Metamerism is the segmentation of the body. If the body has so many segments, so many parts, or you can say the body is divided into the different segments, different parts, this pattern is called metamerism, and such type of segmentation is also known as metameric segmentation, and this segmentation is found in the case of earthworm as well as leeches. Now the last one is the notochord. The notochord is also a criteria, is the basis of the classification. What is notochord? Notochord is a rod-shaped structure which is observed into the embryonic condition. And the notochord, I will teach you later on in detail. In chordates, the notochord may be divided into the vertebral columns, into the chordate. Sometimes the notochord is not changed into the vertebral column, but still they are present, like in the case of hemichordates. So in some of the animals, the notochord in the case of lower animals, Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, in some of the animals the notochord is absent. They are said to be non-chordates. So if the notochord is absent, the animals they are kept into the non-chordates. They don't have the vertebral column, they don't have the bone. But the animals, those who are having the notochord, they are said to be what? Chordates. We are also chordate. The notochord is present in the embryonic condition, and that notochord is replaced into the vertebral column, into the bones. So notochord is also a basis of the classification. Whether notochord is present or absent, it was also considered as the time of the classification of the animals. So that's all about the basis of classification. You all are requested to make the proper notes And all these 6 headings, the definitions you have to learn, that what is level of organization, what is symmetry, what is germs layer, what is coelom, segmentation and notochords. So all these definitions you try to learn it. Tomorrow I will teach you the classification of the animals, and we will start from the first one, that is Porifera. I will teach you that what are the characteristics of the different phylums. We will start from the Porifera. So that's all for today. Thanks everyone.